Can you put the rest of it up on the internet, because it looks like you've got quite a lot of answers. Pinky Agnew, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Imagine my unease melodies and gentle tunes on discovering that having impulsively said yes to the gentle imploring of Marie Russell and her library coalition confreres, that I was to lead the negative team. Arguing against libraries is akin to being in favour of torturing beagles to ensure the safe use of party pills or kicking kittens. My unease increased when Marie wrote to us all, urging us to, quote, avoid any of the teasing and ad hominem point scoring that some debaters use, end quote. Now, the very fact that I had to look up ad hominem and the way in which I did it before I could promise to avoid it illustrates our part of the moot perfectly. Did I vault onto my penny farthing and ride a straddle in my rational dress reform bloomer suit to my nearest library, which is, by the way, the quaintly named Ruth Gottlieb, in an attempt, it seems, to save the dying libraries, they've started sort of anthropomorphising them, giving them names like people do their cute little Maurice Bow or that blackbird that always shows up to be fed, or rest homes. In Wellington alone, we've got Shona McFarlane, Melvina Major and Rita Angus. And they're all tarts from the arts, like me. All had rest homes named after them. It's my only dream now that somebody should name a rest home after me. Imagine the thrill. I'd be sitting on the bus and there'd be two women in front of me and one of them would say to the other, oh, you know, I've had to put Dad into Pinky Agnew. However, I digress. After I searched for the definition of ad hominem, I did pump I'm asking you, pump my be-bloomed legs down to Ruth Gottlieb? Did I enter that hushed, invariably empty sanctum? Did I take down volume 1 of the massive 20-volume set of the Oxford English Dictionary and look up ad hominem? I did not. I stayed exactly where I was, at home, at my laptop. I googled it. I had the answer within a nanosecond, and so I was freaking out, hyperventilating, deep breathing into a brown paper bag, and then calming down all within 30 seconds. Apparently it means don't slag anyone off. And so it is, dear library-ophiles and dear library-ophobes alike, without once knocking the eyes over here, we, the kitten-kicking naysayers of the negatives, will argue that the age of the physical library as a cosy drop-in centre for superannuitants is over. The intellectual capital now held hostage inside libraries will be distributed more equitably by technology. Eva the radical Radich will be telling us all about the nuts and bolts, while Heather Drysdale will be disclosing some very personal information. They will explain that the library and all its knowledge can be best reached not by foot, but by phone. Not by the bus tunnel to Hataitai, but by broadband and Wi-Fi. In a prescient attempt to save themselves from oblivion, the libraries themselves now seem to have caught on. Anyone with a library card, which I have, can now access books, both text and audio, via our, well, they're usually called devices, but it sounds a bit like a shop across the road. So we can download library books onto our laptops, tablets, and our phones. Ladles and gentle spoons, the age of the cyber liber is already upon us. Rather than maintaining physical libraries, tax and rate dollars should provide everyone, everywhere, with super fast broadband, free Wi-Fi, and the equipment to access it. This embracing of new ways of accessing knowledge doesn't mean we're dumbing down, as the great French poet Jean Cocteau wrote, au contraire, mon frère. You know, I've got his complete works right here. It is thanks to 21st century technology that knowledge is being distributed to more people more efficiently and more effectively than ever before. And of course, course, there will be those who claim the library is the only safe place for ideas, for wisdom, for literature, for back copies of bridal magazines. The end of the physical library spells the beginning of the democratisation of knowledge. It's accessible to all, to the halt, to the lame, to the intelligentsia, and yes, to dimwits like me who have to look up ad hominem. Of course, the very idea of distributing knowledge free of charge to everyone, regardless of their means, will be opposed, just as the printing press was opposed. When, of course, they discovered that the common people were able to get their filthy mitts onto the Bible and read for themselves that the labourer is worthy of his wages, and that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven, equal distribution of knowledge foments revolution. That libraries are no longer repositories of knowledge. The only repositories of knowledge is a revolutionary idea. They are indeed more likely to be repositories of slumbering street people, lunching businessmen, and wagging school kids. Libraries are an increasingly elitist luxury whose day is gone. The last bastion of the overprivileged intellectual, the bearded, woolly-hatted nostalgia freak who comes in once a month to finger his way through the stacks to see if his own slim volume of verse has been issued to anyone other than his mother for the past 30 years. We are advocating not the end of knowledge, not even the destruction of existing buildings. I, for one, am not going to be driving the bulldozer through Ruth Gottlieb. I can think of a better use for Ruth Gottlieb. How about a rest home?